Every trial has a story the jury never hears, where the truth lives outside the courtroom. Join our host Dara Kennedy and the sharpest legal minds in the business for a new riveting show, Reasonable Doubt, what the jury doesn't hear. No grandstanding, no spin, just the arguments that could change everything. Tonight, one question dominates the Rob Reiner murder case. With a diagnosis of schizophrenia, will Nick Reiner plead not guilty by insanity or be ruled unfit to stand trial at all? This isn't speculation. It's strategy. It's reasonable doubt. What the jury won't hear, you will. Tonight at 9 p.m. on YouTube at Southern Sin.
Hello! Good morning! You've got to be done with Trump's blisters. You are so hot. ¿Speak Spanish? What did you from say? Oh, you're recording. Okay, let's go. Let's go back. Let's go. Hey, Donald Trump! Welcome! Hey, another accusing me of stalking now. Did someone define stalking? I wouldn't get trouble. Stalking means an intent to hurt someone, right? They're going to play any game. Thank you, Denver, for being fair and honest. They're going to try everything to know. Someone in Pasadena, during the roast break in the training, one of those guys was wearing those white suits that they want from Pasadena. Had a nice white suit, but it was pouring rain. All those shoes were red. And I was like, Donald Trump. Last time, yeah. He went to tell me that I insulted him with one. Paycheck, buddy. Paycheck. Oh, Donald Trump! Oh, Donald Trump! Hey, that was my class. Come on, guys. Get in your toes. Get in your toes. Hey, Martinez! Henry! Hey, where's Henry Ricardo, man? Hey, where's Henry? mean, I'm not trying to touch Carlos. I'm not trying to touch Carlos. I got the podium. All right. Hey, my turn. My turn. Come on, ready to go? Hey, fuck, 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 fuck. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump. Hey, fuck Donald Trump. 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 We're going live, guys. We're going live. Hi, TNT, the movie theater. What's going on, man? Hey,
This is where we'll
you
be.
guys are cool, okay? I will not interfere with you guys.
Thank you, man. Wow,
Just don't interfere with me. Fuck Donald Trump! 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 Hey, Trump has to suck your ass off the pussy! Hey, Belinda León! Telemundo! It's here! Say, Jackie, you know if you can be in person or if you can video? I learned that from my brother-in-law. He's a surgeon. The best acting I've ever seen. So, guys, you ready? Fuck Donald Trump! Fuck Donald Trump! Tripping over the sidewalk. Fuck Donald Trump! Fuck Donald Trump! Hey, you should be recording this, man. Fucking Sunday, you're getting pregnancy, man. Good job for that guy. Because the guy is Trump. What is that? They're gonna impeach him. Guys, the midterm. We're gonna impeach. You gotta win the House, and we're gonna impeach Trump.
They wanted us to. Right now we're stuck. Oh yeah, we're got a spot. Straight up there's hit Mike. Cool, we're set up then. And then our pool. Okay. Yeah, because we're set up, our mic's set, so we got a good, nice. Putting all the stuff away. Yeah. And I'm assuming you'll talk about that. You did last time? Yes. Well, four, yeah, so it's just around. Oh, you're good, sorry. Okay, cool. Or we're set up, and then I'll keep an eye out too. Any chances of.
Hey, man, do you know where Rico Flores is?
I would check the civil show. That would be. Oh yeah. This ATLA crew keeps trying to go on. It's just they won't drop his lights. I was like, just stop yourself. Like they keep going up the shoulder, they went up to the street, they went around the house. And I was like, dude, just drop this live shot. With me, I tried to fool them. I was like, kept doing my head, just
Fake
hanging
you out, I fake
Don't
you
break walked
out.
away, and they're like, I kind of just waited, walked on, like moved back with like 10 seconds left, and then he saw me, and I got half my head. And then they're like, we're dropping you. No, but I heard how it was. I heard that the guy, somebody was explaining that the only
You don't get their story out of the page.
like most people listening from trademark songs, they don't know they don't know.
My brother, they just look at that. The cops were spending dollars on it, you know.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Even though we're Disney, we'll be like, can we do that?
Right.
How long have you been in Atlanta? Yeah, you were in New York, right? How you like it? You like it? Besides all the oh yeah. That might be the worst. Oh, that's so true, yeah. Alright, well let me know if you get the end.
Yes, thank you for checking in.
Oh, no worries.
So did you hear ABC? So we don't even have to try to have it. Hey, how come you guys want to talk to you for it? Talk to the other guy. At the coffee table. And how bad is anything? You have to fight him off. Are you married? Yeah, hey.
So I think if you want to break down what's
My lawyer did that yesterday. The beautiful girl at Starbucks. He was, watch this. He was like, that's all I tried to like. Hey, this is what guys do. Guys spin the little web like a spider. And you can catch your girl. And then as a teenage Uncle Mom, he's cute. He's a little kid. Yeah. All he wants is this. Right? Hey, look at that mustache. When you're doing that, that's a guaranteed orgasm. Look at him. And look, Google it. They say women want men with long hair, so look like this. Whoa. That is an orgasm beyond orgasm. He knows that. Hey, grow a beard, bro. Send your wife into the room. Hey, do something about Trump, then this goes away. When he goes away, hey, when he goes away, I go away. You're not minding. You were asking me questions. How's it minding your own business? Hey, you're not minding your own business. Hey, like I told everybody, anybody want to battle with me? Hey, you want to battle with me? Bring it on. Hey, you're not minding your own business. You're not minding your own business. You said I'm just minding, but you asked me questions. That's not minding your own business. Come on, man. Hey, anytime you want to battle with anybody here, I will battle with anytime. 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 Battle with. See? See? Fuck Donald Trump! Fuck Donald Trump! Fuck Donald Trump! Donald Trump wants to grab your pussy! Where's the other one? All right. Sure, Lord. Hey, that's sexual harassment, guys. That's sexual harassment. Sexual harassment. Sexual harassment. All of it for sexual harassment. Hey, guys. All you guys think about is pussy? Come on. Hey, Trump wants your pussy. Let's go, guys. Wrap it up. National. Okay, let's go on. National. And David Hockman's a fucking fag. Fuck David Hockman. Fuck David Hockman. That's what they're saying, honey. You're good.
Probably turn it. Oh, that's it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. 6:15. Oh yeah. Should have been under. Yeah, I did one. did a video. Oh. Yeah, back to shit.
regain my confidence and say, nah, let's go. We got, but I'm no. My cousin fought in Vietnam. He survived Vietnam. One day I was driving with him, and he said, "Hey, sir, let you know." He said, "Hey, I fought for Vietnam. I fought for your right to be able to do that. I fought for your right to do that. Don't give up any right. This is my right. This is my right. All due respect to you. You come in that Macy's and you steal something, I look the other way. Well, I don't know what you're gonna now. I don't know. If I say, hey, you want to play with that? Like I tell people, let my
Every trial has a story the jury never hears, where the truth lives outside the courtroom. Join our host Dara Kennedy and the sharpest legal minds in the business for a new riveting show, Reasonable Doubt, what the jury doesn't hear. No grandstanding, no spin, just the arguments that could change everything. Tonight, one question dominates the Rob Reiner murder case. With a diagnosis of schizophrenia, will Nick Reiner plead not guilty by insanity or be ruled unfit to stand trial at all? This isn't speculation. It's strategy. It's reasonable doubt. What the jury won't hear, you will. Tonight at 9 p.m. on YouTube at Southern Sin.
Rapper YNW Melly, whose real name is Jamel Demons, back in a Broward County courtroom Monday as the state prosecutors and the defense are going over a number of different motions filed to see what will be admissible for Demons' retrial. Demons is accused of murdering Christopher Thomas and Anthony Williams, both childhood friends, back in 2018 after a late-night recording session, and then allegedly made it look like a drive-by shooting. His first double murder trial ended in 2023 in a mistrial after jurors failed to reach a unanimous verdict at trial, with twists and turns that included allegations of witness tampering, passing messages in jail, and alleged plans to escape. All issues brought before the judge today to see what would be permitted to use in his new trial. Demons faces a number of charges that include 2 counts of premeditated first-degree murder and witness tampering. And he is expected back in court January 12th on Monday at 8:45, where the judge will hear additional motions. That trial has been set for January 21st.
Subscribe to at Southern Sin and hit the bell for when we go live. You're watching at Southern Sin, your new home for true crime. Smash that like button now. We'll be right back. Rest in peace, Rob and Michelle Reiner. Please leave your condolences in the chat. You're watching at Southern Sin, your new home for true crime. Smash that like button now. We'll be right back. Subscribe to at Southern Sin and hit the bell for when we go live. Court is on a short break. Don't go anywhere. The action will be right back on at Southern Sin. Subscribe to at Southern Sin and hit the bell for when we go live. You're watching At Southern Sin, your new home for true crime. Smash that like button now. We'll be right back. Subscribe to At Southern Sin and hit the bell for when we go live. You're watching At Southern Sin, your new home for true crime. Smash that like button now. We'll be right back.
I'm sorry.
I know. I mean, like, I wouldn't do that.
You're watching at Southern Sin, your home for true crime. Court will begin shortly. Don't go anywhere. Thank you for subscribing to at Southern Sin, your new home for true crime. Hit that Cash App code or become a member today for all new exclusives. You're watching at Southern Sin, your home for true crime. Court will begin shortly. Don't go anywhere.
No, it was. How many wireless? How many Hold on, hold on. Something like a four, but because without the technology.
Every trial has a story the jury never hears, where the truth lives outside the courtroom. Join our host Dara Kennedy and the sharpest legal minds in the business for a new riveting show, Reasonable Doubt, what the jury doesn't hear. No grandstanding, no spin, just the arguments that could change everything. Tonight, one question dominates the Rob Reiner murder case. With a diagnosis of schizophrenia, will Nick Reiner plead not guilty by insanity or be ruled unfit to stand trial at all? This isn't speculation. It's strategy. It's reasonable doubt. What the jury won't hear, you will. Tonight at 9 p.m. on YouTube at Southern Sin.
What time you got here? 5, 4. Okay, one together, guys. Now, one, Trump. Hey, one more time. Say pussy. Keep it deep. He's also looking. Hey, do you guys prefer with or without a shirt? Oh boy.
Mr. Jackson? Alan, who's paying for Nick's defense? How's Nick doing, Mr. Jackson? How is Nick doing right now? Nick, who's paying for... Alan, who's paying for Nick's defense?
Do you think the Dopey podcast is going to make a big decision in this case?
Excuse us.
All right, guys. Relax. It's over. It's over. Back up.
It's over.
From here. Didn't have to take my
Probably my car. You don't see sort of sticking out in an obvious spot. I mean, I could go to the car and look at the door.
Hello, hello, hello. I want to thank Mr. Trump for giving this little guy an opportunity
I know what she wants.
to come over here
I did those shots.
and
I don't think
take a chance on the little guy. Okay? And I want to just let you know to all the Carlos. Hey, I want to invite my friend Carlos, Channel 5 News. He said you guys can all fuck yourselves. Okay, he loves you guys, but he said you guys can go fuck yourselves. He's a big Trump supporter, and he's willing to let his wife do whatever she can to help support the cause.
Full camera.
To all my German buddies, wollen wir uns Spaziergang machen?
You're watching at Southern Sin, your new home for true crime. Smash that like button now. We'll be right back.
This thing on, this thing on. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. Whoa, guess who stopped crying? Oh my God. Crocodile tears. Oh my God. Hey, smile back there. There you go.
You're watching at Southern Sin, your home for true crime. Court will begin shortly. Don't go anywhere.
Tell the world that Trump is the new sheriff in town. Trump is the new fucking president. If you don't, So there's a new sheriff in town. His name is motherfucking Donald President Trump. They're gonna deal with it. He's the president. Okay? If you don't like him, get the fuck out of here. Move to Greenland. Right? Greenland is next. Carlos! Carlos! Oh shit. No way. Who is that? Hey, I just got a question on Instagram. Why doesn't Trump send his son Barron to the army? Anyone answer that question?
You're watching at Southern Sin, your home for true crime. Court will begin shortly. Don't go anywhere.
So he's gonna, when they come out, the press conference here, he's gonna be right there.
And once again, Donald Trump says he can grab anyone's pussy. So just picture him grabbing your mom's pussy. Just picture him grabbing the other mom's pussy. My mom's dead too. But he's still welcome to go grab his pussy. Grab his pussy. Hey, remember, Trump started this. Alright, guys? Remember, Trump started this.
Our security's here.
And you fucking dick-sucking faggots that voted for him, I know you guys are very happy.
No, we don't know.
Hey, fuck Trump!
No.
Trump wants blonde pussy!
Don't think about it.
All right, hey, hey! Hey, whoa! Fuck Donald Trump! Carlos! Hey, Carlos! Over here! Get that camera! I'll give you 2 cents. Look.
Thank you for subscribing to at Southern Sin, your new home for true crime. Hit that Cash App code or become a member today for all new exclusives.
So the scenario was the guy drives the bike.
Oh! Oh!
Judge actually got they got to me, and I said, well, there's no way he's guilty already. There's no way. He was down by about 5 miles an hour and they let me go. The judge said, the lawyers go, you gotta go. He's got to go. I said, there's no way he's guilty. And other people were like, oh, I've got an accident, so the bias towards you. All kinds of stuff. Really? Really? Yeah. So you stand with somebody?
Thank you for subscribing to at Southern Sin, your new home for true crime. Hit that Cash App code or become a member today for all new exclusives.
I would make it if they were none of these people know me or will ever see me again. Well, trust me, that's what that's what that's what everybody was saying when I was driving. When I was in that room, and that's the people that were left. They would get mad at me. They were trying to get out. Of course. Like you said, if I was getting get the kid. That's another thing. You can't think, you know, 2 or 3 days of work. Or a week.
Y'all leave my husband in Maryland now? more coverage than you guys. Carlos, marry me. Carlos, marry me. Hey, Trump wants blood pussy.
You're watching at Southern Sin, your new home for true crime. Smash that like button now. We'll be right back. You're watching at Southern Sin, your home for true crime. Court will begin shortly. Don't go anywhere. You're watching at Southern Sin, your home for true crime. Court will begin shortly. Don't go anywhere. You're watching at Southern Sin, your home for true crime. Court will begin shortly. Don't go anywhere. You're watching At Southern Sin, your new home for true crime. Smash that like button now. We'll be right back. You're watching At Southern Sin, your home for true crime. Court will begin shortly. Don't go anywhere.
All of this rides on a connected fleet of over 1.5 million assets in the field. Assets that generate data so that we get better with every hour of operation. So put simply, we're making that invisible layer of the tech stack, the physical foundation that the modern world depends on, more intelligent. Sensors, software, connectivity, and AI, turning static infrastructure into systems that can see, systems that can learn, and now can adapt. That's how the Caterpillar you thought you knew starts to look really different. Now let me zoom out and talk about the world Caterpillar's helping to build. Imagine a mine operator who can automatically push a software update to instantly change how an entire fleet of mining trucks navigates a pit wall. Or a power producer spotting early turbine or engine stress, adjusting the load automatically and dispatching a technician with the right parts before anyone on the ground even knows there's an issue. The riskiest jobs, they shift to the machines, while people get to move into roles where their judgment matters the most. And as the system learns and optimizes in real time, efficiency increases, and so does job site performance. And that's what's most critical to our customers. That's what it looks like when the invisible layer gains intelligence, when the physical foundation can respond in real time to what's happening around it. So that's great. Why bring all of this to CES? Well, interesting, because the biggest bottlenecks in technology today, they're not in software. They're actually in the physical world. AI needs more chips. Chips need minerals that are pulled from the ground. Data centers demand power, more than today's grids can provide. And the entire digital economy needs infrastructure that can be built faster, run harder, and stay online no matter what. Those aren't software problems. Those are problems Caterpillar is uniquely positioned to solve. And solving them is actually central to our strategy. In fact, last year we launched the
might kick in, friends might kick in. Ironically, if there is nothing provided for in the will, and none of the family members want anything to do with this defense, and none of the friends want to come forward, then he would be technically indigent, and the state would have to pick up the tab.
And Joe Patuto, this is a great question. Can't any really good defense attorney handle this case? Do you really have to pay millions for a top defense attorney?
Yeah, well, the answer to that is yes and no. There's certainly many very, very fine defense lawyers who could handle the case, but the people who are very fine and can handle cases like this often are charging a fair amount of money. But certainly you don't have to get the high-profile lawyer who's done, Harvey Weinstein and the Reed trial and has gotten a lot of name recognition. You don't need somebody with that sort of a public face of being that good. And there certainly among some of those, and maybe in Jackson himself, who would do it for a reduced fee anyway in order to get the public recognition out of it that might lead to other clients, down the track.
Someone said you get what you pay for, which is true. I'm also looking.
Yeah, but sometimes you get I don't know. You may get what you pay for, but you may pay for more than you need and get.
Yeah. And this, Joe, this happens a lot. People slip into saying, well, he's a kid, 32, because it's all relative. 32 suddenly to me seems very young. I'm sure, Joe, to you it seems
young in terms of chronological age, but certainly not young in the sense of what you might think of. He's not a teenager. He's a man. And I think one of the things he's going to face, at least if I were on the jury, is this notion of, sure, maybe you got addicted to drugs and, I'll give you a pass on that because you shouldn't have tried them, but you tried them and you got addicted. But lots of people who are addicted don't go out and murder their mother and father. People with mental disease, don't go out and murder their parents. I mean, the ability to exercise control is still typically there for most of us.
Yeah. Joe, I know you're not a psychologist. That's my mom's department, but this continues to tug at my heart. It's just brutal when you think about it. But I really, the comment is, I really and truly hope Romy and Jake look after themselves. This is just so sad. What do they do, Joe? What do you think? I mean, you can really just lean on friends and go to a therapist to try to get through this. You've lost your parents.
And lean on each other. And they've got the older sister, the daughter from the first marriage. There must be extended family. Certainly there are close friends of the Reiners. I mean, she called Billy Crystal that night, considered him, I believe, an uncle. So there are lots of people to talk to and listen. They certainly can get professional help to try to get them through it. But, it's grief. They lost their parents. They lost their parents in a brutal way. And it's their brother who probably did it. I mean, I don't care who you're talking to, whether it's, your priest, rabbi, minister, psychologist, psychiatrist, grief counselor, your cousin, your uncle, your siblings, and you go on and on and on. This is still a terrible thing, and it's not going to be easy to get through.
Yeah. From Rosie Burns, can you see a scenario where he's so medicated he can't speak coherently to mount a defense? I assume the judge is going to ask Nick Reiner, are you currently on medication? Do you understand what I'm saying? Will the judge ask those sorts of questions?
Right. And I don't know, Rosie Burns, I don't know enough about medication for psychiatric issues to know whether it is responsible medical treatment to give you a drug that's so potent that you aren't able to follow proceedings or understand what's going on. I mean, my layperson's instinct is that can't be right, that they've got you on such heavy drugs that you're essentially comatose in terms of being able to follow anything, but I don't know.
It is hard to believe. I think it is January 7th today, and I believe the crimes occurred on December 15th. So time waits for no one, and time is moving forward here. Right here, look at this. Mama, member for 12 months, so that went quickly. Here's an interesting question from our friend Rachel D. a Michigander living in San Diego. If he's found guilty, Joe, that's putting the cart ahead of the horse a little bit, but if he's found guilty and his parents did leave him money, is he legally entitled to it?
This is easy. No. In fact, there is a reasonable chance if they left him money directly that he might not be able to use it to fund his defense.
And I assume there's laws on the books that say if you kill somebody.
Yeah, there are, and some of this is out of my area where I know a whole lot, but I think part of it is the state law and insurance, and whether they wouldn't have to show by proof beyond a reasonable doubt that he was involved. It would be a lower standard, and they might be able to block the money going to him, even, as I say, even to pay for the defense. But certainly if he's convicted, he wouldn't get it. Now, if he's acquitted by reason of insanity, I think then he would be entitled to the money.
That's interesting. I mean, and this gets into a whole other legal set of issues, but that's
and those are all issues the jury will never hear.
Yeah. Eat the food Tina here. In my honest opinion, Nick is too dangerous to be let out ever. It certainly seems that way now. TMZ reporting, when attorney Alan Jackson appears in court Wednesday morning for Nick's arraignment, he will inform the judge he is no longer representing Nick. Fascinating. So that again,
is TMZ
that's Harvey Levin.
What?
Harvey,
yeah, and he's the person who's had the two leaks that have come out so far, the schizophrenia and maybe the bad meds.
Yeah.
So I think if that's coming from that source, then I think it has a little more weight to it.
I think Alan Jackson is friendly.
Yeah.
And here it is, right on the front page of TMZ. It says, Rob and Michelle Reiner murders. Nick Reiner's attorney withdraws from the case. Nick, this is crossed the wires 5 minutes ago. Exactly. Nick
it's coming from them, then I really do think there's weight to it because, as you say, they seem to have a relationship with Alan Jackson. And as I say, the two leaks that we know of, they report it.
It says Nick Reiner's lawyer. This is according to TMZ, everybody. So if it is incorrect, yell at them, not us. But according to TMZ, Nick Reiner's lawyer is off the case, TMZ has learned, and Nick will, at least for the time being, be represented by a public defender. Sources connected to the Reiner family with direct knowledge tell TMZ that when attorney Alan Jackson appears in court Wednesday morning for Nick's arraignment, he will inform the judge he is no longer representing Nick. One source says a public defender will step in for now and the case will be continued. Nick will not enter a plea. As for why Jackson is off the case, we're told the family will be releasing a statement as soon as the proceedings are over, and TMZ will post it. TMZ reported it is likely Nick will eventually plead not guilty by reason of insanity. He was diagnosed, this is all according to TMZ, by the way, not independently confirmed by Surviving the Survivor. He was diagnosed, they say, with a form of schizophrenia known as schizoaffective disorder. We're told his meds had sent him off the rails in the month before the murders. Jackson is coming off a huge victory in the Karen Reed trial in Boston, where she was found not guilty for allegedly killing her boyfriend. It's unclear if the public defender is a stopgap until another lawyer takes the case, or if the public defender will handle the case from this point forward. If Jackson speaks to the media after the hearing, TMZ will have it, but so will we. So screw TMZ and watch.
Well, as to whether the public defender will stay on or not, as I said before, if nobody's willing to pay, he's clearly indigent. He's never held a job in his life. I don't know that he owns anything on his own. That would mean that the public defender would stay on unless some other lawyer thinks that this is the kind of case that he or she would be willing to take on for either no or a very, very small fee, assuming that California allows a case like this to be farmed out to a private lawyer on a low fee. If you remember in the Sarah Boone case, she published a letter advertising for a lawyer to come represent her, and somebody did step forward to do it.
There was a question just now. Does the judge need to sign off on a change of lawyer? Can the judge say, no, Mr. Jackson, you can't be released as his attorney.
Yeah, but this is very early on in the case. So it's different if the lawyer in the middle of the trial says, hey, no, I want out. The judge is not going to let you out unless there's some extraordinarily good reason. But here we're very much at the outset. And if it's the case that the client is saying, I don't want this guy, then the client has the right to pick a lawyer of his own choice. And he's saying this lawyer is not the one that I want.
And here's a question. How would he qualify for a public defender? Just because he is the son of very, very rich people doesn't necessarily make him rich, right, Joe?
Yeah.
I mean, so, do you need, I guess, a different way of asking it, do you need to be indigent to qualify for?
He needs to be indigent, but it comes from an extraordinarily wealthy family, but the money is theirs, not his. And if they haven't left him anything in the will, and his family doesn't want to cover, and the friends don't want to cover, he is a 32-year-old man who has never held a job in his life. He's got no money. He was living on his father's property, rent-free. He doesn't have a house. He doesn't have a car that we know of. He has nothing. So he's indigent, even though the family is extraordinarily wealthy.
And keep in mind, at different points, he was actually homeless, living in the streets, because apparently, Rob and Michelle Reiner didn't want to help him because they wanted him to get his own help at that point. It was some tough love, but it just goes to show you what little he had, that he was actually living in the streets. But if you're just joining us off the very top of the show, we talked about this, and now it has come full circle that TMZ, not us, and look at this is harsh. I mean, look, TMZ is not garbage. You might think they're garbage, but they do break a lot of news. And I'm almost sure that Alan Jackson has a relationship with Harvey Levin. It's a big city, but not that big. AJ is representing another big case in California. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, he's representing the guy who ran over those 4 Pepperdine students and killed them all. But he was representing them before he decided to take this one on. It isn't as though that case came up and now he wants off this one. He knew then that he was going to be representing both when he took this on.
By the way, this is a great question for a different show. Steve Cohen, if you're listening, when are you going to have Dr. Ann Burgess, the living legend? We all love Ann. Maybe we can get her on about the Tepe murders to see who she thinks could be behind that if that case isn't solved by the end of the day today. We're staying on that case, and it's a real whodunit. It'd be interesting to see what kind of profile she would have for that killer. So, Steve, if you're there and we can reach out, she'd be great to add to our list of guests for tomorrow night. Again, tonight, you've got Phil and Scott coming on the show to discuss the Tepe murders at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But if you're just joining us, again, there were reports, rumors, whatever you want to call them, at the top of the show that Alan Jackson was stepping down. And then apparently TMZ took down those reports. They're the ones reporting it. And now they have re-reported it, reposted it, that Alan Jackson plans to tell the judge today during this arraignment, which is maybe why it's taking a little bit longer, that he does not want to be the attorney. Anyone except the parties involved have any idea, and we don't even know for sure that this is happening because we're getting it all from third and fourth sources. So we will have to see. And
this is all really serious, and so I apologize for being a little facetious here, but if Alan Jackson really does withdraw, maybe one of the losers out of here will be TMZ, because they'll lose a really good source that they had that nobody else in the media had.
Yeah, that's a huge possibility, but they get their information. That is for sure. Whether you love them or hate them, they do break a lot of news. Some person's not too upset to see AJ go. I hope AJ withdraws. If he does withdraw, I'm sure he's going to talk and explain. He does like to talk.
Yeah, but he won't be able to say. It's much more likely that if there's any kind of real information, it will come from the family. I mean, he certainly can't say, I'm withdrawing because the defense I think we need to pursue is one that, Nick Reiner won't accept. That clearly he couldn't say. He's not going to be able to refer to anything that he talked to Nick Reiner about because that's attorney-client privilege. So his statement about, if he is withdrawing, his statement about why is going to be pretty vanilla in terms of, what happened.
And then you see this comment, misdemeanor OG is truly an OG. She's been here from the get-go. Joel, the schizophrenia diagnosis was floated allegedly by the defense team to see if that might be popular in the mainstream. There's absolutely no evidence that this is factual. The short answer, I kind of agree with you, misdemeanor, but we just don't know because no one has seen the psychiatric record. So, but I have no doubt that would Alan Jackson float that out there to see if it gets.
Yeah, and I doubt very much that if the story is attributable to him, I doubt very much that he would float a story that had no basis in fact. Now, it may be that one can contest whether what he or the defense is saying factually is the only way to evaluate it or the only information, that there's counter information. But boy, I would really doubt that he would float something for which he could not point to something that says there's a basis for this claim.
What a busy day. We're also hearing from Emmy, longtime STS watcher. We appreciate it. Ashley Buzzard hearing just happened. The COE, I think we'll try to clip that off the pool cam, and we can put that under the video tab for you all to go back and watch later on. She's probably growling at me right now for saying that, but let's see if we can get that for you as well. It's obviously a busy day. We also have Corey Richardson
stream today, Joe.
Yeah, it was hard to try stream. I never even heard of that, but I guess we could attempt. I'm just looking here to see now on social media. I'm looking at Harvey Levin saying that Harvey Levin now on social is saying that Alan Jackson will abruptly withdraw, and that additionally he is saying, this is Harvey Levin of TMZ, that it looks like Nick Reiner might be looking to plead not guilty by reason of insanity. So that could be a double whammy here, Joe Patuto. Not only would Alan Jackson withdraw as attorney, but potentially also entering a not guilty plea by reason of insanity. Is that something that they could enter right now if they wanted to, or no?
Sure, but there's really no big reason to do it because they've got several different avenues to pursue, and that's one of them. There's no reason to enter that now, but they could, sure.
Yeah, so...
And I don't know that it's a big whammy because when you're looking at what the defenses are that are possibly available, there aren't very many, and that's one of them.
Yeah, not guilty by reason of insanity. Good luck with that. I mean, Joe, we've seen some of the surveillance video already from that evening, from both before and after the murders that he allegedly committed. And I don't know, it seems to me, just by visual inspection, that he wasn't completely out of his mind. He looked like he was walking with a purpose. It was going here and there with a purpose.
Insanity requires that you didn't understand what you were doing and you didn't know it was wrong. And if that's the case, why flee the scene? Why take a hotel room downtown when you've got apparently perfectly nice accommodation right on grounds? Why clean up the blood in the hotel room? I mean, there are all kinds of things that would counter a claim that he didn't know what he did was wrong.
Yeah, appreciate this comment very much from Carolyn. Listen to your book for your mom was great listening. And we're working on a different book with my mom. As if you don't know, the reason the show is called Surviving Survivor. My mother is a child Holocaust survivor, and she likes to bust my you-know-what. So it was a fitting title. And when we switched to true crime full-time, the title worked. But the book with the same title is her story and also life advice from a person that's been through quite a bit. Could it be as simple here as AJ researching Nick's finances and finding out he couldn't afford to retain him and didn't think that AJ works for free? I don't know. I mean, I think money is always a big issue, right, Joe?
Certainly true. He doesn't have to work for free. He's a private attorney.
Yeah.
He has no obligation to take on a case for free. And as a general rule, I mean, it's not worth it. There's a general rule, he has no obligation to take on a case for free.
I'm looking at some of the other comments here. Schizophrenia goes in and out in minutes, so I don't know enough about schizophrenia.
Oh, the only thing, I don't know much about it either, but I do know, and this is only from reading in several places, that typically a diagnosis comes in your late teens, maybe early 20s, not when you're 32, unless he'd been diagnosed before.
People are keeping an eye on Sign Man, giving me updates here.
He's got a jacket on. What's the temperature in LA?
It looks cold. Look at this guy. He's got a hoodie on.
I know, but I was just wondering whether they're just wimps because they've never been somewhere where there's really cold weather.
Dude, I'm going to tell you the answer to that question.
Yeah,
right
please.
Now. I'm gonna look it up right here. We've got Spacey. It's 33 degrees in Boston.
Oh, well, then they're right. Okay, I'll give them 33.
No. That's in Boston. Boston.
Sorry.
That's in Boston. Los Angeles, 57 right now.
That's quite with a hood up and everything for 57 degrees. I shouldn't be judgmental. I take it all back. Not a wimp, but just a different susceptibility to cold weather.
Yeah, here we go. Due to special circumstances, this is the COE here with this comment. Allegations of multiple murders. The LA County District Attorney's Office has not ruled out pursuing a death sentence if Nick Reiner is convicted, but they basically said they don't know that they're going to go that far.
Yeah,
that seems
I don't think they are.
Yeah.
There's an interesting public policy.
At the time, maybe he was so high on drugs that he was impaired, because it's on record that he struggled with substance abuse. Yeah. Not to say that in and of itself it would get him off the hook, but there are lesser charges when you do it and you don't know what you're doing, or you were impaired by drugs. Yeah. Nothing has played out yet. So whether or not he's Nick Reiner or Nick Jones, he still enjoys the presumption of innocence, and they still have to prove their case against him, all of the elements beyond a reasonable doubt.
And we keep getting more and more updates. So really what now TMZ is saying, their sources are saying that a public defender is going to step in.
Okay.
For now, the case is going to be continued. Nick will not enter a plea. We were thinking that was going to take place today. So also we're getting an update from the Associated Press. Nick Reiner appeared behind glass in a custody area of a Los Angeles courtroom. He was wearing his jail garb and had his hair shaved. So this is according to people that were inside or watching this from Los Angeles. So the attorneys went into the judge's chambers to confer before his case ended up being called. So just getting some more updates on it from right now, Marie. So just a surprise, because I believe, we have some sound from when Alan Jackson came out and was going to represent Nick. I think we have that queued up. Why don't we go ahead and play that? We can talk about that on the other side.
I just have a couple of quick words. First of all, and most importantly, this is a devastating tragedy that has befallen the Reiner family. We all recognize that. Our hearts go out to the entire Reiner family. There are very, very complex and serious issues that are associated with this case. These need to be thoroughly and very carefully dealt with and examined and looked at and analyzed. We ask that during this process you allow the system to move forward in the way it was designed to move forward. Not with a rush to judgment, not with jumping to conclusions, but with restraint and with dignity and with the respect that this system and this process deserves and that the family deserves. So with that, we are set for January 7th for an arraignment. That's the next court date. And that's all I have to say at this point. There may be more at some other point today. We can rest on where we stand procedurally, which is this was the continuance of arraignment. Nothing happened today substantively. We'll be back for arraignment in the same department on the 7th of January. We'll see you then.
Yeah, so Marie, we heard Alan Jackson there talking about it being a complex case. He was saying a lot of parts to this.
Like I was saying, it could be not guilty by reason of insanity. And I know it sounds crazy. It could be self-defense because we do not know what happened inside there. And we can't go according to everything we hear from TMZ. We have to give the man an opportunity to lodge a defense. But you see how gung-ho he was, and now you're saying the case is probably going to a public defender. I want to tell the people, just because it's a public defender doesn't mean that it's not top tier representation, because remember, Philip Dubé used to be a public defender. I think Philip needs to come out of retirement and deal with this case because
in that office, he's the walking encyclopedia. He is our version of AI.
Most of the great defense attorneys come from the PD background or a prosecutorial background, and you know, you get that training every single day in court. You have cases every single day, and so you know, PDs definitely can be amazing. So, Marie, thanks. We're going to squeeze in a break. We're going to have more of this breaking news out of Los Angeles. Alan Jackson withdrawing from the Nick Reiner case. We'll be right back.
Every trial has a story the jury never hears, where the truth lives outside the courtroom. Join our host, Dara Kennedy, and the sharpest legal minds in the business for a new riveting show, Reasonable Doubt. What the jury doesn't hear. No grandstanding, no spin, just the arguments that could change everything. Tonight, one question dominates the Rob Reiner murder case. With a diagnosis of schizophrenia, will Nick Reiner plead not guilty by insanity or be ruled unfit to stand trial at all? This isn't speculation. It's strategy. It's reasonable doubt. What the jury won't hear, you will. Tonight at 9 p.m. on YouTube at Southern Sin.
Rapper YNW Melly, whose real name is Jamel Demons, back in a Broward County courtroom Monday as the state prosecutors and the defense are going over a number of different motions filed to see what will be admissible for Demons' retrial. Demons is accused of murdering Christopher Thomas and Anthony Williams, both childhood friends, back in 2018 after a late-night recording session, and then allegedly made it look like a drive-by shooting. His first double murder trial ended in 2023 in a mistrial after jurors failed to reach a unanimous verdict at trial, with twists and turns that included allegations of witness tampering, passing messages in jail, and alleged plans to escape. All issues brought before the judge today to see what would be permitted to use in his new trial. Demons faces a number of charges that include 2 counts of premeditated first-degree murder and witness tampering. And he is expected back in court January 12th on Monday at 8:45, where the judge will hear additional motions. That trial has been set for January 21st.
Teenager Sarah Grace Patrick went public on social media after her mother and stepfather were shot and killed in their own home. But what happened next has everyone shocked, and it's chilling. Sarah was just 16 when tragedy struck. On a February morning, her 5-year-old sister discovered the bodies of their parents, Kristen and James Brock, both shot in bed. Moments later, Sarah called 911 and then posted tearful TikToks and a haunting eulogy online, ending with the words, "I'm sorry." Now, authorities say the story isn't so simple. Sarah faces 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault, and she'll be tried as an adult. Investigators say a mountain of physical and digital evidence points to her involvement. Her social media activity, reaching out to true crime TikTok influencers, has only fueled suspicion. With no clear motive, the community is left asking the same question everyone's asking. Why would a teen allegedly kill her own parents? The case is far from over, and prosecutors claim they have evidence no one has seen yet. Follow the live trial daily on at Southern Sin. True crime just got darker. Catch the full episode on the link above. Subscribe to At Southern Sin today and hit the notification bell for more live original episodes Wednesdays at 8 p.m. You're watching At Southern Sin, your new home for true crime. Smash that like button now. We'll be right back. Every trial has a story the jury never hears, where the truth lives outside the courtroom. Join our host Dara Kennedy and the sharpest legal minds in the business for a new riveting show, Reasonable Doubt, what the jury doesn't hear. No grandstanding, no spin, just the arguments that could change everything. Tonight, one question dominates the Rob Reiner murder case. With a diagnosis of schizophrenia, will Nick Reiner plead not guilty by insanity or be ruled unfit to stand trial at all? This isn't speculation, it's strategy.
News out of Los Angeles. Nick Reiner was supposed to be arraigned today, enter a plea. And we were speculating all morning, would it be not guilty by reason of insanity, thinking that his attorney, Alan Jackson, would be at his side in the courtroom. Well, the breaking news is that Alan Jackson is withdrawing from this case.
Yeah, big news out in Los Angeles. You know, you just go back to when this happened. I remember being at home with my parents and then hearing this on the news that, you know, the mom and dad had been stabbed, and you think, oh my gosh, what happened here? And then the information starts coming out about the son. Then you fast forward, then we hear that Alan Jackson is going to represent him, which of course, all of our viewers are very familiar with Alan Jackson because we just came off of the Karen Reed case not too long ago where he had that successful victory with Karen Reed. But now the breaking news, he has withdrawn from this case. And we're hearing from TMZ that in a little bit we will hear the family is going to be issuing a statement, the Reiner family, as to a reason as to why this departure is taking place.
And the judge in this case is not allowing live streaming. So there was, according to people in the courtroom, the Associated Press and others had representatives there. They went back into chambers before the hearing got underway. However, Nick Reiner is not expected to enter a plea today. And in the absence of Alan Jackson, it is our understanding from reporting, including TMZ, that a public defender will take over this case. And again, to your point, we'll learn more very soon because when this concludes, A, we'll get the feed, whatever did happen in open court, and then B, we're expecting that family statement with more clarity as to the reasons why Alan Jackson is off the case.
Yeah, we do have a background package on this, a background story, just kind of getting people up to speed as to the situation, as to what had transpired before. Why don't we go ahead and play that, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Sunday, December 14th, around 3:30 p.m., Los Angeles firefighters responded to a 911 call at the Brentwood home of Hollywood filmmaker Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle.
Upon arrival, they determined that there were two deceased individuals inside of the residence.
Rob Reiner, the son of comedy legend Carl Reiner, catapulted to fame in the 1970s as Michael Stivic, Archie Bunker's hippie son-in-law on the hit television series All in the Family.
All right, put it in.
He went on to become a prolific director of such films as This Is Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, and When Harry Met Sally.
I came here tonight because when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible.
Reiner and his wife, Hollywood producer Michelle Reiner, were found in their home fatally stabbed. The Reiner family confirmed the deaths in a statement posted on Variety.com. It is with profound sorrow that we announce the tragic passing of Michelle and Rob Reiner. We are heartbroken by this sudden loss, and we ask for privacy during this unbelievably difficult time. The Reiners married in 1989 and had 3 children together, sons Jake, Nick, and daughter Romy. Nick Reiner has spoken openly through the years about his issues with drug addiction and homelessness. In 2016, he appeared in this clip, currently circulating on social media, with his father. It was a panel discussion promoting the movie Being Charlie, which was partially inspired by Rob Reiner's experiences parenting Nick.
The whole process for me, I can just speak for myself, it did make me understand him a lot more, and I think it made me a better father. Hopefully it did. If your kid is going through rough times, you know, the parent is, your main job is to keep your child safe.
As police, media, and onlookers converged on the home, sightings were reported of Reiner's friends and collaborators, Larry David and Billy Crystal. Tributes poured in from Hollywood and beyond. Carrie Elwes, who starred in Reiner's cult classic The Princess Bride, posted no words. Jerry O'Connell was one of the child actors featured in Stand By Me, and he tweeted, "Love you, Rob, sincerely." Former President Barack Obama wrote in part, "Beneath all of the stories he produced was a deep belief in the goodness of people and a lifelong commitment to putting that belief in action."
All right, Marie Pereira still with us. What does logistically happen here when you have an attorney withdraw, no arraignment today? They'll just set a new date for that and give the new attorney, whoever it is, time?
Yes, the attorney's going to have to meet him, interview him, see if he's okay with him being assigned as the attorney. Although for the most part, if you're indigent, and that's who the type of person that gets a free attorney, a public defender, is someone who has no money to pay. Because in America, if you're accused of something that has to do with your freedom, a criminal case, if you can't afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you. And you don't really have much say in who it is unless there's a big difference and meeting of the minds. You get the attorney that they appoint for you.
But the high-profile case, you can be assured it's going to be someone with experience. We're going to get a break. Marie, stand by. When we come back, more Nick Reiner, plus that Washington State trial. Busy Wednesday, Court TV.
Every trial has a story the jury never hears, where the truth lives outside the courtroom. Join our host, Dara Kennedy, and the sharpest legal minds in the business for a new riveting show, Reasonable Doubt, what the jury doesn't hear. No grandstanding, no spin, just the arguments that could change everything. Tonight, one question dominates the Rob Reiner murder case. With a diagnosis of schizophrenia, will Nick Reiner plead not guilty by insanity or be ruled unfit to stand trial at all? This isn't speculation. It's strategy. It's reasonable doubt. What the jury won't hear, you will. Tonight at 9 p.m. on YouTube at Southern Sin. Teenager Sarah Grace Patrick went public on social media after her mother and stepfather were shot and killed in their own home. But what happened next has everyone shocked. And it's chilling. Sarah was just 16 when tragedy struck. On a February morning, her 5-year-old sister discovered the bodies of their parents, Kristen and James Brock, both shot in bed. Moments later, Sarah called 911 and then posted tearful TikToks and a haunting eulogy online, ending with the words, "I'm sorry." Now, authorities say the story isn't so simple. Sarah faces 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault, and she'll be tried as an adult. Investigators say a mountain of physical and digital evidence points to her involvement. Her social media activity, reaching out to true crime TikTok influencers, has only fueled suspicion. With no clear motive, the community is left asking the same question everyone's asking. Why would a teen allegedly kill her own parents? The case is far from over, and prosecutors claim they have evidence no one has seen yet. Follow the live trial daily on at Southern Sin. True crime just got darker. Catch the full episode on the link above. Subscribe to at Southern Sin today and hit the notification bell for more live original episodes Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Court is on a short break. Don't go anywhere. The action will be right back on at Southern Sin. Subscribe to at Southern Sin and hit the bell for when we go live.
To Rollins, we're reacting to the breaking news out of Los Angeles. Nick Reiner, who was supposed to be arraigned formally today in a Los Angeles courtroom and represented by Alan Jackson, is going to do neither. He is not going to be arraigned today. That's going to be pushed back. And according to multiple sources and reporting out of L.A., Alan Jackson is off the case, no longer representing Nick Reiner.
Yeah, this breaking news just took place a short time ago, and we are awaiting a statement from the Reiner family as to the reason. TMZ reporting that a short time from now, the Reiner family is going to be issuing a statement or talking about the reason as to why this departure has taken place.
Let's bring in our guest for the hour to get some reaction. She is joining us now from New Jersey, Livingston, New Jersey. Krista Pettiford. Chris, what's your take on this high-profile case? Obviously, high-profile lawyer now out, Alan Jackson withdrawing.
It's kind of surprising that he's withdrawing on such short notice, right when the arraignment is being scheduled. Obviously, you can assume that there may be some disagreements on how the case should be handled or how he should plea. Otherwise, I can't imagine a reason why on the date of arraignment, he would withdraw as counsel.
Well, yeah, I mean, Crystal, that's a great point, because that's what we were expecting to take place today, him to enter some sort of plea. And so if there was going to be discussions as to a departure, discussions as to, and I'm speculating here that maybe there was some sort of financial agreement that now has fallen through the cracks, you would have thought that you would have heard that they would have made a decision about this prior to today. So, maybe it's more than that. Maybe it has nothing to do with finances. Again, we don't know. We will find out shortly. But yes, for it to happen today, on the day that we're supposed to be hearing how he is going to enter in regard to his plea, that was kind of a surprise.
Yes, definitely a surprise. On the eve of an arraignment, it can only be assumed that it probably could be financial, but I would think it's more so something to do with how they should proceed.
We've been talking about Philip DeBay sort of because he was the lead public defender in Los Angeles County for many years and has just retired from that position. He's, still a lawyer, still practicing, but now no longer part of the office. And he's in Mexico right now, and he just texted me, and he's chiming in, and he brings up the probate situation, saying that under California Probate Code 250, a beneficiary to a trust estate cannot inherit if they murder them. Basically, there's no money to pay for the counsel. That it may have something to do with that. again, we'll find out. But you know, if you're an heir, you can't murder the person that is going to be, you know, you're going to get money from, and then use that money to represent you at trial. So could it be about money, Crystal, at the end of the day?
I mean, that's always a possibility, but Mr. Jackson is a very experienced attorney. I'm sure he's fully aware that Nick Reiner would not have been able to reap the benefits or of any money willed to him or left to him as a result of his parents' death. So I think that would have been something that would have been discussed prior to the date of arraignment.
Yeah, absolutely, Crystal. And we're going to stick with this story because we're hearing that we're going to get some more updates here momentarily, maybe a live feed from Los Angeles. And of course, as soon as we get that, we're going to bring that to our viewers. But yes, I mean, going back to just what we were talking about, you know, when you hire an attorney, there's usually an agreement. This is how we're going to get paid. These are my fees. This is what, you know, we're going to do going forward for our payments, the retainer. And so then, and we would know that. Alan Jackson would know that, just exactly what Philip Dubé was texting you about. So there should have been some sort of knowledge already behind them as to what the financial situation was. So that's what makes me think, Crystal, along the lines of what you're saying, that maybe there was some sort of different reason as to why exactly this took place. I know last hour when we had Marie Pereira on, I was talking maybe because of case management. She was saying no, that's probably not a possibility because he would have known when he took the case. So I don't know. I mean, again, we're just speculating here, but Crystal, any more thoughts as to that? I mean, what do you think about case management? Sometimes you take something on, then you start going into it and you're like, whoa, I have so much on my plate. He has that high profile case out in Los Angeles about that young man who was driving along Pacific Coast Highway. That one's a huge case. He just came off the Karen Reed case, and that victory there, obviously, that one's behind him now. But obviously, he's a very busy man.
Well, of course, but he's also very knowledgeable and he's able to manage his cases effectively. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so successful. So I wouldn't think it would be a case management issue. Again, completely assuming. I can only assume that maybe based on it being previously adjourned, there was an understanding that there may have been a guilty plea. And it would be more about sentencing. Maybe there was a shift in that, and therefore now the fees associated with someone entering an early plea are much different than the fees for a defendant planning to defend themselves from the allegations. So I can only assume that it has something to do with that, and maybe the trajectory of the defense has since changed.
Yeah, Crystal, and that's an excellent point because yes, if Alan Jackson is going to go and come up with a defense and use his skills as an attorney and, you know, talk about not guilty by reason of insanity, and then all of a sudden there is a shift where we're going to come today, we're going to just say guilty, we're not even going to proceed. Yeah, that would definitely be a difference in finances.
Yeah, if indeed, you know, Nick Reiner himself didn't want to participate and go a certain way, that might have been part of it. Again, we'll get more from that family statement. We're also expecting the feed of what actually happened in court today in open court. They all went into chambers shortly after the case was called, but the judge in this case didn't allow us to live stream. So we're sort of waiting for that procedural event to take place where we'll be getting that feed along with everybody else at the same time. And as soon as we do, we'll pass that along. The Nick Reiner's arraignment is delayed until February.
Yeah, so that's new information. We just have heard now. We thought
the Associated Press.
We thought it was going to be taking place today, that he was going to be entering a plea, and now we're hearing just some breaking news that now that has been delayed until February. Obviously, understandably, it was delayed as of today. We just hadn't had that date yet, so that's some breaking news. Now we'll have that, and we'll bring that to our viewers when it does happen, about a month from now.
Yeah. Again, we're waiting that feed from the court. And Crystal, procedurally, now you have according to multiple reports, including TMZ, the public defender's office representing Nick Reiner. Some people may think, oh gosh, public defender's office, they are extremely competent public defenders. And in Los Angeles, a city of that size, they are going to appoint someone with experience to handle the complexities of a high-profile trial. He's going to still get good representation, correct?
Absolutely. There are many public defenders that are top tier. They do this on a regular basis. They handle cases of comprehensive magnitudes all the time. Just because a person is a public defender, that doesn't make them any less qualified than a privately retained attorney.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I remember back when I was working just as a, assistant state's attorney back in Illinois. And when I was first starting, you're handed so many files and you have to go in every day and switch gears from this case to that case to that case. And public defenders have that same kind of background, same kind of training, and many of them go on to be very successful defense attorneys. But that's what we're hearing, that in the meantime, Nick Reiner is going to be appointed a public defender. If he then will end up getting private counsel. Crystal, kind of talk about that process. When someone is deemed indigent and you have to fill out, at least when I was practicing, they had to fill out the paperwork saying about what they have for their assets. And then the judge makes a decision as to if they are able to be appointed a public defender or if then they have to go to the next step and hire private counsel. But kind of talk about that process. Right now, Nick is going with the PD, and then eventually maybe he will go back to having private counsel.
Would actually be surprised if he didn't go back to getting private counsel, but his process would be no different from anyone else. There would be there would be an analysis of his financial means and ability to pay a private attorney. If he falls within the required guidelines of a person who is eligible for a public defender, then he would get a public defender. And as you previously stated, they're gonna appoint a public defender that is very experienced in handling cases of this magnitude. It would be the same process for him that it would be for anyone else. There's, I don't believe he was working at the time based on everything that's been out in the media, so I don't see why he would not qualify for the assistance of a public defender.
Crystal, let's talk about the case against Nick Reiner. It seems to be substantial in terms of he is the one that took the lives of his parents. Was it strangely self-defense? Was he under the influence of something? Was he coherent? All of these questions we don't know. We don't know a lot. But we do know that he seems to be the person that took their lives. What possible defenses really are there moving forward in this case, from what we know?
The primary defense, it seems, based on what's out there, is he's probably going to go with something related to his mental health. From what we understand, he's been struggling with some mental health issues. Maybe he's going to try to say he wasn't in his right state of mind at the time of the killings, and that it wasn't premeditated. Otherwise, I don't see what defense. I don't believe self-defense would ever come into the equation, because there's been nothing in the news that his parents were in any way violent toward him. Everything leads to the fact they've been loving and trying to guide him through his rehabilitation phases of his life. So I don't think self-defense will come into play. If anything, I think there will be some affirmative defense of his mental health and incapacity.
Yeah, I would think, yeah, that's probably true. I'd like to go ahead and play that when Alan Jackson took over this case, he came out there on the courthouse steps and he talked about the complexity of this case. He talked about it being complex. When you first hear about the case, you're like, oh, okay. You hear the parents were stabbed. Then you hear that the son is involved in some way. And then you have Alan Jackson coming out and talking about the case being complex. At first thought, Crystal, I'll bring you in instead of playing that sound. But at first thought, you think, well, how complex can it really be? The parents are dead now. They were stabbed to death, and it's coming out as information as to the son is responsible. But you'd hear a very seasoned defense attorney come out and say the case is quite complex. What are your thoughts on that?
I think when an attorney says the case isn't that complex, it's quite complex, my apologies. In a matter like this, I think it's to stop the public and potential jurors from rushing to judgment. If you make it simplistic, then we jump to the conclusion automatically that this was a person who was out of control and killed his parents. But when you want to make it a broader issue, possibly mental health or something else, that you want to keep an open mind and you want the jury to focus on the complexities and what led up to these specific events. If you make it any less complex, then the writing is on the wall that he killed his parents and that's the end of it.
Good point. Good point. And again, that arraignment we were expecting to take place today now has been delayed until February. So a lot of moving parts here.
Yeah, and apparently the feed that is coming out of Los Angeles of the hearing that was on the record, there are some complications with that. So let's do this. We'll get a break. We'll regroup. Probably head back to Washington, watch that until we get more from the Reiner case. We are still expecting that family statement, which should have some clues as to why Alan Jackson is off. So as soon as we get that too, we'll share it with you. But stay where you are. Busy day here at Court TV. Don't go anywhere.
School shooting that broke hearts around the country and broke trust with law enforcement.
Now, the officer sworn to protect those students faces a jury.
The Uvalde School Massacre Trial. Live coverage today.
May 24, 2022. Police respond to a school shooting at Rob Elementary in Uvalde, Texas. Video released of the response garnered outrage when police took 77 minutes to kill the gunman.
Mr. Ramos, can you hear me? Please put your gun down, sir. Please don't hurt anyone else.
The shooter entered Robb Elementary at 11:33 a.m. 3 minutes later, 11 law enforcement officers arrived inside. Officers at several points delayed gaining access to the room by clearing other classrooms and negotiating with the shooter. After 50 minutes, the team begins to move towards the classroom. A little over 20 minutes later, rapid gunfire, and the gunman is killed.
I just don't know what was going through those policemen's minds that tragic day, but everything said, there was just no action.
19 students and 2 teachers were killed by the gunman, and 17 survivors were hurt.
Somebody's error was made there, and they gotta pay for that error because we're paying it for the rest of our lives, not seeing our kids grow up.
Nearly 400 officers waited before confronting the 18-year-old gunman, and only 2 officers have been charged. One of the 2 senior officers in charge is now going to trial for the failures of that tragic day. Former school officer Adrian Gonzalez faces 29 counts of abandoning and endangering a child. If convicted of all charges, he could face up to 58 years in prison. Gonzalez pleaded not guilty to the charges, and a judge granted his request for a change of venue for the trial. Defense attorney Nico LaHood said, quote, "It would be impossible to gather a jury that would not view the evidence through their own pain and grief."
I think in this case, it was just negligence. Who waits 77 minutes outside? Who does that? Because I guarantee if it was their children, they would have ran in. And that's just all there is to it. They failed us. They failed our kids. They failed our city. They failed our community.
Soon after we received the news that our daughter was among the 19 students and 2 teachers that died as a result of gun violence. We don't want you to think of Lexi as just a number. She was intelligent, compassionate, and athletic. We stand for Lexi, and as her voice, we demand action.
In response to the shooting, the Texas Senate passed the Uvalde Strong School Safety Act, improving the way police deal with active shooters.
True crime just got darker. Catch the full episode on the link above. Subscribe to At Southern Sin today and hit the notification bell for more live original episodes Wednesdays at 8 p.m.
relating to the legal proceedings. And they went on a source. This is a source told the New York Times. So this is according to the New York Times. The change had nothing to do with Alan's performance and that he had been a pro. So new information there. We had reported earlier that Alan Jackson has withdrawn from the case. And now we're hearing just some of this general information. Of course, they're saying nothing to do with Alan's performance and that he had been a pro.
And the public defender, Kimberly Green, 19 years of experience, apparently has been appointed to the case. So she'll be along his side when they are back in court at the 23rd. We are still expecting that feed from the courthouse. There's been some technical problems with that. So nobody has it yet. As soon as it is released, we'll pass it along to you. But the breaking news today, obviously, is that Nick Reiner not arraigned yet, and Alan Jackson is out.
Yeah. PD representative. We're going to switch gears. Go back to Washington State. This is for the cheating fire chief murder trial that's taking place out there. The defendant in this case, Kevin West, accused of strangling his wife, Marcy, to death in January of 2024.
Yeah, this is a fascinating case. Prosecutors say the West initially said that, he's got a great relationship with his wife, but then text
Every trial has a story the jury never hears, where the truth lives outside the courtroom. Join our host Dara Kennedy and the sharpest legal minds in the business for a new riveting show, Reasonable Doubt, what the jury doesn't hear. No grandstanding, no spin, just the arguments that could change everything. Tonight, one question dominates the Rob Reiner murder case. With a diagnosis of schizophrenia, will Nick Reiner plead not guilty by insanity or be ruled unfit to stand trial at all? This isn't speculation. It's strategy. It's reasonable doubt. What the jury won't hear, you will. Tonight at 9 p.m. on YouTube at Southern Sin.
Nick Reiner murder trial has been derailed. We have learned that Alan Jackson, as I speak right now, the hearing has not started, but Alan Jackson will go into court and he will withdraw from the case. We are told that a plea will be entered. A public defender is going to be appointed. Now, that doesn't mean the public defender is going to handle this case from this point forward. Based on what I know, there is a real chance another lawyer is going to come in and take the case. As for why Alan Jackson is withdrawing, we know the family is going to issue a statement at the end of the hearing today. So take a look at that. But Alan Jackson, who famously represented Karen Reed recently, where she was found not guilty for allegedly killing her boyfriend, Alan Jackson will no longer be handling the Reiner case. Now, something else that we've reported is that Nick Reiner could likely plead not guilty by reason of insanity. As we reported, he was diagnosed with a form of schizophrenia called schizoaffective disorder. And in the month before the murders of Rob and Michelle Reiner, Nick's meds were off and it sent him off the rails. So the defense of not guilty by reason of insanity has worked before. Not a lot, but it has worked. where somebody does not understand the nature and quality of what they've done, and that well could be something that is pleaded here, because based on what we know, it is likely that they're not going to simply plead not guilty here because of the amount of evidence that points to Nick Reiner as the person who killed his parents. So right now, Nick Reiner will not enter a plea. There will be a public defender. I don't think the public defender is going to be there for long, although I don't know that. And it is possible, but the family is going to explain why this has happened. Alan Jackson may well speak after the hearing today. He will live stream that if he does. But right now, the Nick Reiner case is stalled.
Every trial has a story the jury never hears, where the truth lives outside the courtroom. Join our host, Dara Kennedy, and the sharpest legal minds in the business for a new riveting show, Reasonable Doubt, What the Jury Doesn't Hear. No grandstanding, no spin, just the arguments that could change everything. Tonight, one question dominates the Rob Reiner murder case. With a diagnosis of schizophrenia, will Nick Reiner plead not guilty by insanity or be ruled unfit to stand trial at all? This isn't speculation. It's strategy. It's reasonable doubt. What the jury won't hear, you will. Tonight at 9 p.m. on YouTube at Southern Sin.